I want to make a festive table runner for our dining room table for Christmas Day, and I'm going to be using a method that I've used for many, many years, and that is attaching everything to a stick. This is a piece of hazel that I've cut from our woodlands this morning, but you could easily use a piece of bamboo. I just find that it's really very sturdy, much more sturdy than using a rope or just binding material together. I can pick it up and move it around. I could put it onto a mantelpiece. I just find that this is a really, really good method. Because this is going on the dining room table, I want all of the foliage that I'm going to be using to be really fragrant. So I've collected a selection of herbs and scented foliage from the garden. So this morning I've gone out and collected eucalyptus and some bay. I've also found some rosemary, and for a bit of extra colour and texture I've picked some grasses and some pittosporum. So I could use a wire to bind all of my ingredients on, but actually I'm going to be using a jute twine because this will disappear against the colour of the hazel stick, and if it is on show it doesn't look anywhere near as offensive to the eye as perhaps silvery metal wire will. So I'm making up little bunches which I'm simply laying onto the stick and then tying them on, making sure that every single bunch is just slightly overlapped by the next one, and that way I'm covering over any of the tying up that I'm doing onto the stick. I'm using around 5 stems for every bunch that I'm making and making sure they fan out really well, and then that's going to create a nice sort of loose finish. And the key to using twine is to make sure that you bind it on really, really tightly, and then it will hold well for you. And I'm not using any oasis, any moss, because this is going to stay fresh for the next couple of days until Christmas, and then it really doesn't matter if it starts to dry. All of this foliage will work really well as a dried foliage, and it still gives off that fabulous aromatic scent. So it doesn't matter if it starts to dry. It's going to just change texture slightly, but that's not an issue for me. And there we are, all finished. And it's really rigid, I can pick it up and move it around really easily. It smells really lovely. And then I can have my candles scattered through the table, and everyone can still see themselves over the top of this arrangement, so it works really, really well. I can't believe we've come to the end of the year. At times this year, life has been personally so incredibly challenging, but it's made me realise just how important the garden has become to me. The connection I feel to the garden runs so much deeper than I ever thought would be possible. There's so much joy to be found in every season as the year gently passes. From the beautiful winter light through the trees in the woodland, to watching the bees amongst the flowers on a summer's morning. I love that spending my days outside working in the garden, I notice those tiny changes as the temperature rises or the light softens, when the swallows arrive to build their nests, and when they depart with their summer fledglings. The gardening year is cyclical, and there's something so reassuring and soothing about that. I've loved sharing my garden with you this year, and I'll definitely be back with more flowers and stories from the garden next year. But now it's time for the festive season. Happy Christmas, everyone.